Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
The spider guts.
Spider-Verse? Oh, that's stupid. It's called the Arachno-Humanoid Polymultiverse. Which sounds stupid too, I guess.
I am Paul Atreides, son of Leto Atreides, Duke of Arrakis.
As a servant of the Imperium, you will bow at my feet.
Your feet! You'll be lucky to keep your head.
All right, we're back. Well, I'm back. Mike never left, but I'm back. How are you, Mr. Mike?
I'm good. It's our rough 6-day winter is over, and we're back in the 70s. I'm outside at the moment here at 9:30 at night, so
Wait, you're recording outside?
I'm outside.
Wow.
I was out. I went out earlier, watched the launch, the Falcon launch. I can see the launches from my backyard.
I kind of want to just hang up this podcast right now. I'm sitting here catching a cold because it's free.
Oh.
Like, we have been in like a deep freeze. A deep freeze. Like, today it hit 45, and I went outside with like a smaller than normal jacket.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it was like snowmageddon down. Not even snowmageddon. It was just cold mageddon down here last week because it was in the 30s and 40s here. And all the native Floridians are freaking out.
And you're up there like, this is nothing.
I'm like, it's not that cold. I was wearing a light jacket. They're all, it's like 50 degrees. Everybody's wearing puffy jackets and gloves and ski hats and all kinds of stuff.
I'll take 50 degrees.
Yeah,
the heartbeat right now.
That's not that bad. That's like roll down the window weather.
Jeez. All right. Let's kick it off with Superman. James Gunn, his first. Well, no, not first, but his second. The second. No, it's not even second. It's the third thing he's directed because he did Suicide Squad. He did Peacemaker.
Yeah.
And now we got. I think the thing I think most of us are waiting for. I think I'm more excited for this than I am the sequel to the Batman because, and we've said it. You've listened to the show long enough. We love Henry Cavill. We think the cast was great for that Zack Snyder stuff. Just the execution wasn't. But I love the trailer. I absolutely loved it. I feel like if the movie can match the trailer, they have nailed the tone. They've nailed what Superman should be. It should be a guy that gives hope. Not that Batman doesn't give hope, but it's a different kind of hope, right? If his whole thing is vengeance and you're going to contrast these two dudes, this is the guy that gives hope. This is the guy this is your Captain America. The guy you should always feel like is the eternal optimistic. What did you take from that trailer?
I tend to agree with you. I think that, this seems to be, I mean, granted, it was only a quick teaser, but this seems to be kind of more in the vein of like, the Christopher Reeve Superman, like you said, hopeful, as much as you and I both love Man of Steel, that's kind of a heavier take on Superman.
Yeah.
This appears to be kind of more of the, original Superman movie, Smallville, kind of like you said, hopeful, lighthearted, kind of optimistic view of the character. And, I'm okay with that.
Me too. I'm happy we're not getting an origin story. I know he said we're not getting an origin story for a lot of these characters, and we don't need them. These characters have been well established. The mythos, almost everybody knows it. There's no reason to backtrack. And it's cool. We get a younger Clark. From the looks of it, him and Lois are already a thing, I'm going to assume. or maybe they become a thing. Looks like it's multiple villains, like like so. There's obviously
I mean, it seems to be like that because there were scenes of like young Clark coming into the Daily Planet.
yep,
So, there may be, kind of a quick introduction and then into the story.
yeah,
I mean, because there's definitely, definitely looks like there's young Clark with Pa Kent,
yes.
Smallville coming into Metropolis, coming into the Daily Planet. But who knows how much of the film that's going to be?
Hopefully not a lot.
No, I mean they should get into whatever the thing that they're getting into
Yep.
is.
Um, I'm cool with Guy Gardner's haircut. James Gunn is going for comic book accurate. I don't have an issue with it.
It's a little bizarre. I know it is comic book accurate, so I will give it that.
I'm okay with Mr. Terrific. I didn't have any complaints about the trailer. Granted, it's just a trailer. We've seen great trailers before, and then been completely underwhelmed. But if it's one person you gotta have faith in, it's James Gunn.
I do trust James Gunn. I mean, even though he hasn't, it hasn't been all home runs, but
Yeah,
everything's been a pretty steady double, at least. Um, some of his stuff with DC, the Squad stuff, it was a little rough around the edges, I think, but
yeah.
it was watchable. I enjoyed it. Especially the first movie. I really liked the first movie.
I would have preferred less gore, but okay.
Yeah,
The story was fine.
right. And I like the characters and I like the way the characters are done. I think he's gonna do fine. I mean, I've had my problems with
Suicide. Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Guardians. Yeah. Um, it's okay. I like half the story a lot, and the ego stuff I don't really like all that much. But certainly the stuff with Peter and Yandu and the whole like family stuff,
Yeah,
that I loved. I thought that was really great. Guardians 3 is a little uneven, but
I'm not a fan of that movie.
I think he had like one foot out the door. He had a lot of things going on. I don't think he really got to really focus and concentrate on that film the way that he probably should have. And it just seems it seems very disjointed. I don't think that's going to be the case with this movie.
Oh no, and I think you have to knock it out the park with this.
You do well. You do because there's a lot of haters out there.
Yep, you've got
And
the Snyder Bros who already said they're going to
the Snyder Bros are all over this. The flying scene in the trailer, and it's a downgrade. It's a cinematic downgrade. One, guys, it's a trailer. It's not finished.
Yep.
The effects aren't finished. It's not color corrected. You don't know that you don't know what the film's going to look like until you get to, this is a teaser. So this is just basically, hey, we have this thing coming.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, trailers are typically cut by a completely different company that's not involved with the filmmaking. So they get, the studio sends over basically some dailies and some, finished scenes and things like that. But it's typically not final music. It's not the way the film's cut. I mean, how many movies have we seen trailers for where there's shots in the trailer that are not in the film?
Infinity War.
Rogue One. Well, the Infinity War, some of the Infinity War stuff was intentional deceptions. Having Hulk, running with the Avengers. The same thing with with Thor Ragnarok, where there was the scene of Thor with both his eyes lit up.
Oh
which
yeah.
wasn't because he had already lost the eye at that point. But then there's scenes like Rogue One where there's like just whole scenes in that trailer that were just cut out of the movie, in the edit. So, trailers don't, especially early teasers, don't necessarily reflect what the actual movie is going to be. And, the color correction is not done, the music's not done. So there may be a very different look to this film when it finally gets up on the screen.
I was fine with everything I saw. No complaints.
No, I didn't have any complaints either. I mean, I'm curious about the dog thing.
My my issue with the dog is the type of dog that they use. That's my only issue. I'm cool with the crypto.
Uh-huh.
You're going deep in the bag, but the type of dog. And he says it's based off his dog, but that's not crypto. Like, if you're going to be comic, and this might be nitpicking, if you're going to be comic accurate with Guy Gardner's haircut, get the dog right.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Maybe it was easier to animate. Who knows?
Yeah. But I was just like, all right, let's just get the dog right, man. Yeah, I just think they have to knock this out the park. The way that thing ended did not leave a good taste in a lot of people's mouth. The Flash was a horrible way.
That's awful. It was just
That
awful
was-
to start. They should have just that should have gone the way of the Batgirl movie. They should have given us the Batgirl movie
Yes.
and put the Flash in the closet.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it was just bad. Bad all around. I guess Michael Keaton was fine.
He was good.
But other than that, nah, there was no reason for that thing to come out ever. And I do have some issues with, you're gonna let the guy who directed The Flash direct the Batman Brave and the Bold. Like, I don't know if that's a wise choice.
Yeah. I don't know either. Because I don't know how much of that movie was his fault.
Yeah, that's true. It just wasn't good. Oh, I just came across that he's Dennis Villeneuve is, quote, I'm in the writing zone and we will end Paul Atreides' story. All right.
Denis Villeneuve?
Yeah, that there you go. That guy.
That guy. Oh, we're going to talk about that guy. Don't trust me.
Well, you know what? Let's get into it because I know you have some thoughts.
Yeah, so the Oscars came out. At least the nominations came out. And yeah, I got some thoughts about it. I mean, how much attention have you paid to that at all?
So I am aware that my wife and my son are currently in Wicked mode.
Right.
And that's all you hear at my house is Defying Gravity. And they want Cynthia Erivo,
yeah.
to win Best Actress. And that's about it. And then somebody was upset that the Dennis guy that movie didn't get nominated for his best movie or something.
Well, so no, he didn't get nominated, and it is an absolute crime. So yeah, so let's talk. So Dune did get nominated for Best Picture because that is
Okay.
a 10 film field. Here's problem number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
These movies, the Academy is going more and more towards these films that really only appeal to people that are in the industry. That's
not good.
And it's like it's almost as if they shun a film that makes money. It's really kind of ridiculous. I mean, some of these films are so insignificant in terms of the impact that they have on actual audiences.
Like just completely outside of the radar.
Right. Well, I mean, so let me run down the list and you tell me in a sentence what you know about each of these movies. Okay.
Okay.
if anything. Honora.
Who?
Okay.
Is that a character from Avatar?
No. The Brutalist.
Is it a movie about a fascist dictator?
No, it's a movie about a Hungarian architect.
Hmm.
A Complete Unknown.
Timothy Chalamet, Bob Dylan movie that didn't make a dime.
Okay, good. Conclave.
Is it about Roman Catholic priest?
Yes, good. Dune Part 2. I don't think we need to ask you that.
Yeah.
Amelia Perez.
Is that the one with Zoe Saldana and she finally got to speak Spanish?
Yes.
That's the only thing I know about it. That's it.
Okay. I'm Still Here.
You know what? When I hear that, I think of movies like A Walk to Remember or any one of those like young adult type films or The Notebook. That's
Definitely not that.
Okay.
It's about it's like a family surviving in some fascist country or something like that, like Brazil or something. I don't know. Nickel Boys.
Is that the one about the motorcycle gang?
No, it's about two kids in an arts program, I think. The Substance.
Never, ever heard of it.
Wicked.
I would sing the song, but I can't sing. But it's on my playlist.
All right. So and there's the problem is that like these are films nobody knows about. That who's going to know any of these films, and are people going to watch the show? Are people going to be interested in any of these films? Are these films like going to really have an impact on the culture?
No.
So let me just throw this at you, okay? This is the list of 1992 Best Picture nominees. All right, so 33 years ago. Let's see how many of these films you've heard of. Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
Bugsy.
Was Warren Beatty in that?
Yes.
Okay, yep.
JFK.
Yep.
Prince of Tides.
Yep.
Okay. You're 5 for
And mind
5.
you, you said 93, right?
This is 1993. Yeah, these are films that came out in 1992.
I was probably 9, and I know I heard of all of those at the time when I was 9.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that these are all, look, I'm not saying these are not good films, but like The Brutalist is a 3.5, almost 4-hour character study on a Hungarian architect who emigrated to the United States after World War II.
This is when I do feel like, okay, if you have an agenda, this isn't the place. Nominate what's good. Nominate what at least some people have seen.
Right. I mean, the argument is there to be made that part of what makes a good film is that it connects with an audience.
Yes.
And movies that make $4 million, how much are they really connecting? I mean, the fact that nobody really knows anything much outside of like the Hollywood people knows much about Amelia Perez. The movie's on Netflix. Anybody can watch it at any time. By the way, it's a movie about I don't know if he's Mexican. I think a Mexican transgender drug lord who disappeared and transitioned and then came back, and I think maybe it's a musical as well.
Did he?
I think.
Was he still a drug lord when he came back?
All I know is that both Latinos and transgender people hate it.
Should have picked a better one of those.
Yeah.
So here's my thing too. If a movie has a message, right, and
Right.
it's genuinely good and it connects with people, cool. But don't pick an obscure movie to make the point, to
Right.
make a certain point.
Right. And
Like,
that's exactly what they're doing is like these movies, and so like so the best director nominations, right? Sean Baker for Nora. Great. I like Sean Baker. I love the Florida Project. Anora is look, I've seen the trailers. It looks interesting. I may watch it at some point. Okay, fine. Brady Corbett for the Brutalist, James Mangold for Complete Unknown. That's absolutely legitimate. Um, Jacques Audiard, who did Amelia Perez, and Coralie Fargat, who did The Substance, which I haven't seen. It's kind of like a body horror thriller.
no, thank you.
With Demi Moore, but interesting film. But come on, how do you not nominate Denis Villeneuve for Dune? What direct what is more of a directing accomplishment than that film? Bringing a huge cast, adapting a complex, difficult to understand story into an entertaining narrative that connects with audiences and makes a bunch of money and is visually stunning, is an auditory experience. Yeah, to completely shut him out is just I don't even understand that. They did not, I could almost forgive them not nominating him for the first movie because it was two parts, and a lot of times it's the Academy will wait until the second part, until whatever the story is complete, but the story's over. And the fact that he didn't get nominated for me is just absolutely astounding. Okay, my rant's over.
No. And as I think about it, I'm like, because I didn't see Dune the second one, but I guess it's safe would be to compare it to the Lord of the Rings in terms of like pulling that off.
In terms of scope, absolutely, 100%.
Like you pull like
100%.
To me, Return of the King is the best one of those movies.
Right.
And to pull that off, and that you can still watch that film to this day, and it holds up as good as it does the day it came out. Yeah, you should get nominated for Best Director because you are the director. You're the guy that helmed this thing. You shepherded this project, and I don't have to see that film, the second part, to know. Like I saw the first one,
right?
And you did a sequel and you topped it. And how many of those films did you name off? I think I knew 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
And again, not to say that they're not good movies. I'm sure they are good movies. I watched Conclave last night or the night before. It's a fantastic movie. And the acting performances are, especially Ralph Fiennes is incredible. Absolutely deserves to be on the list. But it's basically one location, 2 sets, 5 or 6 real characters in it, grounded in modern times, a contemporary story. Cool. Got great performances out of his actors. He staged it really well. It's a really great film. But it ain't Dune. It ain't Dune. What he pulled off to me, that's directing. You know what I'm saying? Like pulling all of this together into something that connects with audiences. That's directing. And I just don't understand how he didn't get nominated. That's just absolutely incredible. And it's almost as if the Academy is making a statement about popular films.
I wonder if the ratings do numbers. Do they rethink things?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, maybe, but don't forget it's just people voting. You know what I'm saying? Like does some, an actor or a cinematographer or, production designer really care about the ratings of the show.
Well, I'm thinking about like when they nominate films or
But the
just
nominations have done the same. You know,
uh
nominations are done the same way, right? So the Academy puts out a list of eligible films, and they do ranked choice voting, right? So you each member and so the way they do it is that for nominations you vote in like you're kind of in your lane, right?
I
So
see.
directors vote for directors, actors vote for actors, cinematographers vote for cinematographers, editors vote for editors, you know. Everybody votes for best picture, and it's ranked choice. So you put like your top 5, and then every film has to hit a threshold. So, you
Okay.
know, if this film doesn't hit a threshold, it's off the list, and then everybody who voted for it, their number 2 gets moved to their number 1, and then they retabulate the votes until they have 5 films that hit the threshold. And or 10 in terms of best picture. And then when it comes to the actual voting, now that you have the nominees, then everybody votes for everything. So, you know, I don't know how much, and it's all industry people. So I don't know how much they care about the ratings of the broadcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just seems like they're just trying to like as a en masse, they're just trying to make a statement that
We might need to rethink how we do this.
yeah, you know, and it's not to say that popular movies haven't won, but the last time, I mean, honestly, the last time a big pop culture movie, I mean, even looking at something like La La Land, you know, that was a popular movie, but it wasn't huge.
No.
The last huge movie that won Best Picture was probably Return of the King, and that was 20 years ago.
Ooh, that's a long time ago. That's a long time ago.
Yeah,
You do gotta acknowledge things that connect.
I mean, Oppenheimer was really successful. I mean, there've been successful movies, but there hasn't been anything that's been like in the zeitgeist, you know,
Yeah.
on everybody's lips. Probably since then, and that was 2003. So break it to your wife and your boys. Wicked ain't winning.
Guess they're just gonna keep singing "Defying Gravity" and watching the sing-along version.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that the Academy does not treat Broadway adaptations very well. The last one that won was Chicago, and that was in 2002. So, you know, they like book adaptations. They like, you know, stuff like that.
And I'm paying attention to what you're saying, but I just want to interject this real quick. So I'm scrolling through Facebook, and here's the thing, another thing I hate about Facebook now, like these random pages that I don't follow coming up in my feed. This page account called Hollywood Movie Lovers, and it says a chibi might be the villain of Black Panther 3. What? You don't know this?
Who?
A chibi. We don't even know.
I don't even think they know.
I don't even think Ryan Coogler has put a pen to a paper, a finger to a keyboard regarding this film yet. And I'm pretty sure it's clickbait. Like, just I wish people would stop doing stuff like this. Stop. Like, I hate that. All we know is Denzel's going to get a role. That's it. That's all we know. And he wasn't even supposed to say that. I can't. I hate that. I'm sorry. I just hate that.
Yeah.
And that is, and as folks, if you listen to shows long enough, you know that's something we try to stay away from. Like every now and then we might touch on it for a couple minutes, but for most part, we do not do that stuff at all. Now, if you say so and so's cast, we might give our opinion on it, what it might look like, but we do not go out and do, you know, fan creations and all that. They'll announce the cast when they announce the cast, and we'll let you know what we think when it comes out.
Yeah.
So who's up for best male actor and best female actress?
So best actor is so Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. I'm really glad that he got nominated for that.
They should call that the best picture category complete unknowns.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
then
mean, Adrian Brody has won before.
well, no,
You
I'm
know,
talking about the best picture because I didn't know half those movies
oh
she
yeah,
made.
yeah,
Like that.
yeah. No, they're all complete unknowns. Yeah.
And then best woman, female.
So the best actress is Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mickey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, good for her, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Demi Moore has actually got a shot at this.
So Cynthia doesn't have a shot.
No, not at all.
Damn. When did this show?
It's in March. They bumped it back a couple of times because of the fire. Well, because of the fires. I think they bumped it back.
Understandable. Or you could not hold it in Hollywood.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen, bro. Come on. So best supporting actress, Monica Barbaro for Complete Unknown. I think she pays Joni Mitchell, maybe. Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones in The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini in Conclave, Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. Best supporting actors, Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice.
We'll see. I didn't see any of those things outside of Wicked.
I haven't even seen that yet.
It's not bad.
Yeah. No, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
I will probably watch it before the show. I mean, my wife and I saw the play last year and really enjoyed it. So,
I didn't know Cynthia Erivo could sing the way she does.
She's great.
She's
great.
Amazing.
Look, I've got some issues with her in how she handles things a bit, but
me too.
Nobody can say anything about her performing. She's great.
What was it? The other thing, we watched the behind the scenes. They actually sang the songs while they were filming.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was pretty cool. What else? What's next up on the docket?
What else were we gonna talk about? A couple of things, and I have forgotten what they are.
Oh, Captain America.
Oh, Captain America. Yeah, that's coming out.
So, after tons and tons and tons and tons of reshoots, a director who may not have directed this film, Captain America: Brave New World is coming out, and I am terrified. One of my friends refers to Captain America: Winter Soldier. He calls it DEI Bird and the PTSD Soldier. I hope this movie's good. I need this movie to be good, and I need it to make a good amount of money.
Yeah.
And I'm worried.
So I've heard rumors that Red Hulk is like in like 5 minutes of this movie.
Gosh.
Which that I don't have a problem with, but they're marketing the movie with the Red Hulk.
They're marketing it as if he is the big bad.
Yeah.
And so now that you tell me that,
hopefully the rumors are wrong.
Now that you tell me that, I am really worried. Oh man. I don't know. Like Sam is Cap.
Sam, yeah.
It seems like you could come up with a really good story for that. I mean, heck, his story, one of his best stories in the comic book, which is like Civil War adjacent. And I don't know, maybe this is how they'll adapt it, but he becomes Cap and he gets no support from the U.S. government, and he's literally going back to Harlem, basically asking for handouts and still trying to be Cap.
Yeah.
The Isaiah Bradley stuff looks pretty cool.
It does. Absolutely.
We haven't
And I
seen
like that. And I like that storyline. And I like the fact that they're bringing that storyline up. So,
yeah.
You know, they brought that up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I like that they're continuing along with that.
We haven't seen a glimpse of the leader.
Nope.
I feel like the Tiamat stuff is being shoved in.
Actually, it seemed to me from what I've read that they've actually pulled it back a bit.
Okay. And that's something that we talk about a lot, where it'll be a great film and the MCU gets shoved into it. So I hope that's not the case.
Yeah. And then wasn't there did I read a story? Was there like a wrestler who shot scenes and then
Seth Rollins
he shot scenes and then they cut his whole story.
And that's where and you've told me before, like movies have reshoots all the time.
Yeah.
But the reports of how many reshoots they have had, it's almost like you didn't scrap this film, but it sure sounds like you've made a different film.
Yeah, and you know the funny part is you know they're looking at like they're reporting on like the budget of this film and whatever, and it's like people are like, which film? Because you shot 3 of them basically to make this thing. You know, this thing may wind up really with like, you know, $400 million budget. You know, Disney will never come out and say that, but
no. And we'll never get the 3 director's cuts we should probably get.
Probably not, no.
I wish they would like swallow their pride and do that more often. Give us the director's cut, or give us these alternate versions of these films. Like, get off your high horse.
Yeah.
And the version you saw in the film is the definitive version. Well, that's fine, but I still want my 4-hour cut of Black Panther.
Yeah. But I don't think there's any way that Julius Ona really directed this film.
Absolutely not. With everything I read and heard, absolutely not. They just allowed them to keep that.
Yeah, especially
title.
Because they're bringing the Russos back in, and who knows how much they're touching projects.
They should have just kept them on retainer.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like I just saw an ad for the film on Facebook, and I don't know, like I'm not confident. We talked about how that Superman trailer was excellent. These trailers look good for Captain America. Like you said, anybody can cut a trailer. And I feel bad because if we were to, I never saw Anthony Mackie becoming Captain America. I don't know if that was ever in the grand plans. Maybe it always was. But had you told me it was going to end up this way, I don't think Anthony Mackie would have been the guy that I said, hey, he can be Falcon and eventually become Captain America.
Yeah.
Good,
yeah. Oh,
solid.
you mean like before Winter Soldier.
Yeah, before it got, to where it got. Solid actor, but leading man in an MCU film.
Yeah, I don't feel that way about him. And maybe that wasn't the plan all along. Although, Mackie was, at the time he was kind of up and coming, so I would have liked to see, I don't know, maybe seen MBJ in that, but he was maybe a little young at that point. I don't know.
Yeah. That's hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
Because he might have killed it. Like
he might. Oh, I definitely would have killed. I could definitely see him doing the stuff they're doing now. The problem is here's the big problem I have with Anthony Mackie. I don't buy his anger. Like he doesn't really, like, even when he's playing angry, like I'm like, oh, that guy's not really that mad.
Yeah,
Like when Michael B. Jordan plays angry, like that.
he's angry.
Yeah.
So what's he in a Netflix? There's something he's in Netflix where you like it's like a multi-season show. First season was one guy in a body, and now Anthony Mackie.
Oh, he was in Alter Carbon.
Yeah, even in that, I don't buy him as this angry, like super killer. And it's funny because there's a running joke in the black community that Michael B. Jordan can only play one person, and it's Killmonger Creed. But he can play an angry person very well. He can play everybody doubted me, chip on my shoulder guy very, very well.
Yeah, and if you look at his filmography, there's a lot of that in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Fruitville.
Yeah.
Creed, obviously. I mean, he played a different character in Chronicle. He was kind of a nicer guy.
Yeah.
But he was also very young in that film.
Like, he's got more range than people give him credit for. But I remember, and then, rest in peace, Black Twitter. Now it's like Black BlueSky. But the joke was when they cast Jonathan Majors in Creed 3, it was like, sheesh, he is going to act circles around Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Thank God his character was a little weird. I mean, he still could act circles around him. And that's another thing. That I get why they cast him as Kang, because he was up and coming and they were going to build everything around him.
Right.
He could have been used as a better person in the MCU, for being honest. Like, hindsight's 2020, and maybe his version of Kang would have been something different. There's a bunch of other characters in the MCU he probably could have been better at.
Yeah. I mean, his Victor Timely was great.
Excellent. 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 And while we're on the topic, I wonder if the recent events of our political landscape have decided, if many people have decided, hey, you know what? Other people deserve second chances. Because that movie Magazine Dreams he did that was like tearing up all the film festivals. It's gotten picked up. It's going to get released. He's going to have a career again. And I wonder I
don't know. I mean, so look at the other people who've been kind of in his shoes, right? Kevin Spacey. What's he doing now? What's Ezra Miller doing now? What's the only one that I can say that's been that low and has really actually had a comeback is probably Gibson.
Okay. Two things that were working against those other guys you just named. And let's be honest, we're all comfortable with who we are, but both those men are ugly compared to Jonathan Majors.
That's true.
Two, whoever was his publicist was very, very smart. I don't know what the details are of this arrangement with him and Megan Good, but they're both playing off this we're in love and engaged thing very well. He quickly went to get the support of Black women everywhere. They wasn't falling for it, but they have steadily showed up at all these different events together.
Yeah.
The third and final season of her show, Harlem, on Amazon Prime just dropped, and he was there. And slowly but surely, the ice is melting with the ladies. And if the ice melts with the ladies, he might be all right.
He might be. Absolutely.
You do your couple Tyler Perry movies. you put on the dress. Boom, back to the top. Hey, he had a great publicist. The strategy is working. The other thing,
and the thing to his benefit is he did not, like, whoever is handling him did not let him like go on social media and do crazy stuff. Like Spacey did, like Ezra Miller did, like so many of these other ones did. Just like do non-apology apologies and then victim blame and then go on and do a video rant about, how everybody's out to get them,
Mm-hmm.
like so many of these guys have done. He's been doing his penance, and I will give him that. He's been, absolutely doing his penance. I just, I, I worry that like the people who are making decisions will look at him like damaged goods and wonder if he's worth it.
I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, like you keep showing up at these D level and C level events. The other thing he did was really smart. Smith clearly was on steroids. For his age, the amount of growth he had, his head size getting bigger. And folks, to be completely honest, I'm saying this as a guy that's dabbled. He shrunk a lot while he was going through his trial. And as he's been getting back in the press again, the man is jacked again. Absolutely jacked again. That man's going to take some sci-fi channel action movie, and it's a slow grind to get back. But I think he's going to get there. The talent is undeniable. Completely undeniable. And we live in America, man. People will be ready to forgive and give you a second chance just as quickly as they tore you down.
Yeah. No, and that's true. And there'll always be, people who whine about it, but he's definitely a lot of it's gonna depend on how Magazine Dreams does and how good he is in it. If he's really good and there's like awards talk for him, even if there's just talk,
he'll be back.
He's on his way back.
Yep.
It's going to take him a little bit, but he could definitely be on his way back. A lot of it's going to depend on how this movie does.
Yeah. It will be a Lazarus level comeback. That man was dead in the water.
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
Oh man, I've been watching all kinds of things. So I watched the first season of Landman.
Okay.
I watched the first season of The Agency.
I've heard of it.
It's really good. Fassbender, CIA drama. What's her name? Jodie Turner Smith.
Okay.
Her name.
Yep.
Our boy, I'm pulling a brain fart here. Our boy Jeffrey Wright from Westworld,
Yeah.
major part in it. Richard Gere's in it. It's really good. We watched we're big into like the spy thriller thing. Sorry. So there was another series on, I think it was on Netflix, maybe. I hadn't even heard of it. It's a couple of years old, called Black Doves.
Never heard of it.
Keira Knightley. It's pretty good. Not too bad at all. Yeah. I mean, so a couple of things. I'm kind of still going through Longmire, which is kind of a police show. Watched the second season of Lioness. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What do you got going on?
I just finished season 2 of Silo, which was absolutely amazing.
Okay.
And I couldn't wait because it's one of those series based off of books. So I just went and got the books and spoiled it for myself. But if they can pull off what happens in the books, I'll be amazed. Just started season 1 of Severance. Really good. And I literally right before we started pressed play on the show Paradise with Sterling K. Brown on Hulu, Disney
Oh,
Plus,
okay, yeah.
which looks the premise looks pretty good. Um, I started Papa's House, sitcom on I think CBS with Damon Wayans and I can't remember one of the sons. Pretty funny, just something to pass the time,
Mm-hmm.
take my mind off the news, and I wanted something that was like lighthearted, not too deep, because Silo was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Because you can see like it's a show about fascism and authoritarianism,
Okay.
and Severance is kind of like not about capitalism and then like just work. So I was like, all right, I need something that's just palate cleanser, and that's why I've been playing a lot of Jedi Survivor, which is absolutely amazing.
Oh, I haven't played that yet. I gotta try it.
It is amazing, and I'm gonna pick up Star Wars Outlaws because I heard they got rid of pretty much all the stealth. I hate stealth in video games. Just let me go shoot stuff up. But I heard the story was really good, and it got me thinking. I was like, for all the crap people give Star Wars, they're knocking it out the park right now. Like, did you see the minutes watch for the Acolyte were like some of the highest of any show on Disney Plus?
All right, so
Well, yeah, you break this down.
so there was a thing that came out. One of the analysts firms came out and said that The Acolyte was like the second most watched show on Disney Plus in 2024. And it started the whole, renew The Acolyte, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Here's the thing. Yeah, it was the second highest watched show, Disney Plus show in 2024, which was a really crappy year for Disney Plus. The show underperformed like crazy, and at its cost, it's just it's
Makes sense.
great. It's it's like having the second best batting average on the worst team in the league. I mean,
That makes sense.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, great, cool, but okay. They're talking about that it did, just as an example, I was just reading the article this afternoon. As an example, they're talking about like it's like how long it was watched, in viewership minutes, and they were talking about that it had 2.7 billion minutes viewed, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Until you realize that like some of the Netflix shows have like 2 billion hours viewed.
Oh,
So everything's relative.
Is it just me? Or they're not putting out really quality content lately? Netflix.
So maybe yes and no. I mean,
I feel like I'm seeing a lot of reality shows on Netflix. Like that's their original program. Like, where's it going?
right.
Or maybe I'm just not looking at the right stuff, but it's a lot of Love is Blind and Ultimatum and these island romance shows.
Yeah, but that's
It's cheap.
I mean, but look, so I barely watch anything on Netflix. There's really not a lot on there that appeals to me that much.
Yeah.
And I don't, so I don't really tend to do it. My wife watches Netflix all the time, constantly. So, it's just a matter of finding finding your niche. and
It,
who your audience is. And these schlocky movies that they put on, they appeal to somebody,
that is true.
they don't
Somebody is
necessarily
watching this.
appeal to me, but these rom-com that they put together for $15.
In Mystic, Connecticut.
Yeah, so top 5 last year for Netflix: American Primeval, Sakamoto Days, I have no idea what that is. Dandanan, I have no idea what that is.
No clue what that is.
Dragon Ball Daima, and Black Doves, which is the show that I mentioned. Those are the top 5 on Netflix.
Wow. And now they're getting into like live content. They've got
Disney,
WWE Raw for Monday
so
night.
here's the other thing about Disney Plus. Like, so their top 5: Star Wars, Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, Agatha All Along, X-Men 97, Wizards Beyond Waverly Place. I don't even know.
Oh
what
my
that is.
gosh.
I
That
thought
show was around when I was like a teenager. I think that was Selena
but
Gomez.
see, that's
show.
the thing. It's like if you look at like their top 10 for Disney Plus, like one of their top 10 is season 1 of The Mandalorian. One of their top 10 is Echo.
Echo's good. We didn't talk about that one.
But it's like this is old stuff. Season 1 of The Mandalorian, come on.
It was that good.
It's good, but new content should be the stuff that people are watching the most. Right? If they're going into your legacy stuff, if they're going into old stuff and that's what they're really watching, what does that say about your new content? Are you putting out enough new content
no, they're definitely not.
Eyes? Right? The Acolyte had a big fall off over time, and yeah, it was the second watch most show last year. It didn't get the viewership that the Obi-Wan show got, and that was awful.
You think so?
Yeah, it wasn't well. It did not live up to my expectations. Let's put it that way. And that's another project that went through multiple iterations. It was originally going to be a film, and then they backed it down to be it was going to be a film to the point where they had like a script and they had studio time booked and they were ready to go, and then they pulled it back and decided to do the series. And I don't know how much of it changed at that point.
I'm just sitting there like, man, I have missed a lot. There's a lot we have not discussed. We might have to do an episode where we just throw stuff out there. Okay, did we talk about this? No, we did. Okay, we can talk about this. Because we never talked about Echo. No. Yeah, I think that we got to throw that on the docket. Now, did you watch all of that?
I think I watched like the first episode, maybe. I don't know. It just didn't really hook with me.
I loved it. After watching that, because the violence was at the level of the Daredevil Netflix show.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they'll be able to pull this off when they do the Daredevil thing. It was a completely different Wilson Fisk than you had on Hawkeye. And remember how we were bemoaning that version? No, it was the Wilson Fisk from Daredevil.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, okay, you guys figured it out that there was nothing wrong with that show and there was no reason for you to MCU it up. Yeah, it was actually a good show. I didn't read like any critic stuff about it. I probably will go back and look and see what critics thought about it, but I liked it a lot. And I'm surprised we haven't heard a word about what's next for her character.
Well, I think they're still, because Iger's kind of looking at every nickel now. And that's part of the problem with the Acolyte is it was so expensive. And what did they say? It was like $600,000 a minute or something. I mean, it was just like a ridiculous amount of money for that show. And versus something like, something like Bad Batch or even Skeleton Crew, which is really cheap compared to The Acolyte. There's not as many effects. There's not as many, it's a smaller cast. It's, kids. I mean, what are you paying them? Um, it's a lot smaller. It's a lot smaller story. And then you have show like The Bad Batch, which is, it's an animated show. Those are historically pretty cheap. You got one guy's doing 8 voices. I mean, so yeah. So here's the list. I found the list. This is the list. Top 10 Disney TV shows 2024. Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Dash killed that show.
Agatha All Along, Echo, X-Men 97, Bad Batch, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, Mandalorian Season 3, Mandalorian Season 1.
They didn't drop a lot now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And I think we're only in 3 shows this year, like in terms of like MCU stuff, right?
Right.
Oh, they also said they were cutting back on films too, so
they did. I don't know if they know what they're doing.
Nope.
This is in a weird way now. The whole thing. Whether it's their films, whether it's the Marvel properties, whether it's
parks.
Parks. I mean, they keep changing stuff at parks all the time now. They're shutting stuff down. They're opening stuff up. It's ridiculous to go to Disney.
Say maybe make it so that the average family can go.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see the Thunderbolts trailer?
It was great.
I loved it. I'm looking forward to that more than Captain America.
I'm not going that far for me, but
I am.
No, I would say for me it's Captain America, Superman, and Thunderbolts. And then that's not a knock on Thunderbolts, but just they got to get Superman right. Like they have to get this.
They have to.
Right.
No, absolutely, they have to.
Because
that's going to be your step off for whatever's coming next.
And I was going to say, like, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but you can almost tank this DCU thing if you don't get this right. Whatever, because the fact that you've established that this Batman has nothing to do with the DCU, there's this weird, like, okay, I'll see it, but why should I care almost?
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. Like, I'll see it, but because, and there wasn't, I think it was almost like with the Black Widow thing. It was like, I mean, it was also cool, but with the Black Widow, it was like, I know she's dead, so I mean, it's no rush for me to see this.
No, yeah. Although I really like Yelena.
Oh yeah, she's the character is great.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, are you gonna check out that Paradise show?
Yeah, we're reevaluating all the streaming.
Okay.
I may go with the because we were just it's funny, we were just looking at stuff yesterday. They we're looking at like what we're paying for stuff, and they've got the Hulu Disney Plus live TV bundle, which is about what we're paying now, but we'd get Hulu with it.
Okay.
Which I just canceled Hulu. So I don't know what we're going to wind up doing, but yeah, I'll probably check it out. But there's a couple of things I want to check out.
Yeah, this thing looks pretty good.
I really want to check out Silo. Like I watched the first few episodes of Silo and I liked it and I just never got back to it.
It is fantastic. Oof. Real quickly before we get out of here, I want the highest selling video games of 2024. No surprise, Call of Duty's 1, College Football's 2, Helldivers at PlayStation's 3, Dragon Ball's 4, NBA is 5, Madden is 6, Modern Warfare 3 is 7, Soccer is 8, Elden Ring is 9, and 10 is the bundle of Madden and college football. That doesn't bode well for Star Wars.
No. But I mean, sports games have always been popular.
But it's like there's only like one single player game, narrative game on that list. Video games are in a weird space, and I now I do understand why Microsoft is like, we're putting these games wherever someone can buy them.
Yeah.
And I mean, heck, you look at Sony, and it's like they're putting their games on PC.
Well, you know, and that's true. It's like stuff is going to become more like hardware agnostic, I think.
Yeah.
You know, Microsoft doesn't want to be selling consoles. They really don't. And you know, if they can offload the hardware to somebody, because they're a software company, if they can offload the hardware to somebody and sell games to Sony, you know, they don't care if there's, you know, they don't really care. You know, they'd rather you play on PCs, honestly.
Have you seen the new marketing campaign?
Yeah, no.
Like, so the campaign is like there's a Fire Stick and it goes, "This is an Xbox," and they show an Xbox.
Yep, I saw that. Yeah.
And at first I was confused, but I'm like, I mean, I get it. And whenever I hear Phil Spencer talk about the next Xbox, it almost sounds like it's going to be the last console you can get from them.
I would not be surprised.
And it's interesting that it's being made by the Surface team. And Windows Central, this guy that's pretty usually accurate on his information, he goes, Microsoft makes Surfaces because they're like a reference device for other Window device makers. He was like, they don't make a lot of money off them, but it's almost like, hey, this is the floor, and then you know, do what you want when you make your device. And he's like, he thinks that that's where they're going with Xbox, like you just said. Like,
Microsoft makes a Surface because it's an entry point into the ecosystem.
Yep.
And the tablet form factor is a big deal. And because you want people walking around on your sales floor with tablets. You want people walking around your car dealership with tablets. You want people walking around your convention center with tablets. And if iPad is the only choice that they have, you're going to lose their entire ecosystem.
The NFL is not using Surface tablets on the sideline because they want to. It's because they're being paid a large sum of money.
Right. But I'm not talking about, I mean, that's promotional. Right?
I know, but I'm just saying,
that's
like,
so they could say the NFL's using, right? But they want, you know, stores and supermarkets and car dealerships and all these people. That's who they want, right? Because there's millions of them. There's 16 NFL teams. There's, you know, 2 million supermarkets. So, but they want people to make that decision to go into that. Like, we use Surfaces at my job.
Okay.
You know, the frontline guys, they have Surfaces, and it's great. I had one. It's great. You know, I mean, I got a mini PC now, but it's, you know, I used the Surface for 2 years and it's great. You would have never known, honestly, that it wasn't a PC.
I'm recording right now on a Surface laptop that I can hit this detach button and it turns into a tablet, and I leave the keyboard and just go about my day.
Yeah.
The battery life sucks because it's 6 years old, but I'll get another one when it's time to move on. I love it.
So yeah, I don't think, you know, they're just doing that to get you into their ecosystem so that you're buying Windows and their whole big thing now, because I see it through my job is, you know, like everybody's doing, is subscription-based services, right? All of our stuff, they just, you know, launched this new whatever Copilot deal, which is basically the third rebranding of Office Online. You know, it was Office Online, then it was Microsoft 365, now it's Copilot. and it's like it's like they don't even want to sell you software anymore. Like it's none of our machines have like Office installed on them. It's all done in the cloud, and it's all subscription based, and that's what they want. Everything's gonna be subscription based. They don't want you buying it one time for $300. They want you paying $35 a month for it, or whatever it is.
Which is why I lost out on my Game Pass console version, which was great. I got like 6 months for $40, and what I didn't have access to, like the cloud stuff that you get with Ultimate,
Right?
but I got all the day one games, and
Yeah.
I guess they realized like, oh, whoa, this is way too good of a deal, and they changed it.
Yeah. So they want your $15 a month or whatever it is. Everybody wants, like we just put together a spreadsheet of like all of our stuff, and some of it's little, $1.99 for additional storage on Google or Apple Cloud or whatever, but all that stuff adds up.
Yes, it does.
That's where everything's going. It's all little heck. Some car manufacturers are trying to do it with features in the car.
I saw BMW.
They rolled that
flag
back
for it. Yeah,
they rolled that back. Yeah, but that was their plan. It's like, we're going to build the car with heated seats, and it's going to cost you $20 a month to use it.
they had to know that wasn't going to fly.
Well, you shoot your shot, But there is some stuff that they are doing it with, like, some of the stuff like the navigation and some of the higher end features, but yeah, basic stuff like that they should have seen that coming, but take the shot,
All right, anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
I think we're good. I think we've done quite a bit.
We've covered all the bases and the outfield. Folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Felt good to be back. Seeing as how you can't get updates for certain websites, just make sure you wash your hands and wash your butt.
Agreed. Check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, and thanks. And tell somebody about us.
Also, I'm no longer on Twitter. I'm on BlueSky. So let me see. I don't even know the same way I didn't know my handle on Twitter, I don't know my handle on BlueSky. It is Randell47 BlueSky Social. Yeah, find me there.
Okay.
Peace.
All right. Thank you.